So you're probably not expecting an LD only account video, especially since I'm not summoning anything. But today I wanted to discuss an interesting topic, as you can see by the thumbnail and title. I want to calculate how many LD scrolls I've summoned on this account alone. Now this is quite a hard task, because there's nothing really built in into the game to tell us how many we've summoned, but I thought of a way to estimate at least. So first I want to talk about how many LD5s I have on this account. So I have one LD5, which is Vivachel, and it's a really good LD to have, especially if you only have one. Like, compare this to having one LD5, but it's like Ariana. Like, it's basically as if you don't have an LD5. So I'm really glad that I got a usable one, albeit it's an LD only account, so I cannot really use Leo, but I have an insane counter against Leo. I summoned this about a year ago in September. Actually, it's been literally a year ago since I've gotten her. And for my profile, it's not the fanciest. As you can see, my best scores are quite bad, but I've been playing for almost 900 days. And what's crazy as well is that I've logged in every single day. I haven't missed a single day of logging in on this account ever since creating it, and I'm sure of that. But of course, like as I said, I'm not really the most crazy when it comes to this account. I'm not sweating my ass off. But yeah, I have 900 days of activity. But yeah, that's the kind of quick account review. Now here's how I'm gonna find the estimate of LD scroll summon. But first, I must state that this won't be the most accurate due to having monsters in like my box here that I've definitely summoned, but I won't be counting these because it's mixed with a whole bunch of secret dungeon units. But the first way I'm gonna try to estimate how many LD scrolls I've summoned is from the amount of 3 stars, LD 3 stars I have in my storage here. And this will probably take the longest to count, but this is like the only way I thought of trying to at least estimate is by counting individually and adding up how many there are, how many LD3s there are in my storage. So this will take a while. So here's a quick time lapse and I will do that. Of course, I have to avoid like Lawrence. I will not count Lawrence. I will not count Franz if they're in here. But yeah, let's start. So here's my final calculation, 545 LD 3 stars in my storage, apart from Lauren, but I have counted some of the Hall of Heroes units, and the reason so is because I doubt I have really done enough secret dungeon to even get these. Matter of fact, I don't even remember a single day of farming secret dungeon, so 545 is my estimate just in this storage. I assume each of these 3 stars equals 1 LD scroll. But there's also this storage where I added a whole bunch of 3 stars. So I was desperate for energy at one point. So I stuffed a whole bunch of 3 stars in here that are fully 6 starred. And there's exactly 224. Very convenient that there's a number here to tell me. There's some 2 stars, I think. Is this a 2 star? I'm not even too sure. Why is it fully skilled up as well? No, that's a 3 star. Wait, I'm gonna do plus 220 because I'm assuming there's at least 3 more that are 2 star here. A lot of these are looking like 3 stars. So let's add this as well. 2 plus 220, just to add a little bit of kind of more preciseness, I would say. So 765 LD scrolls, just counting the 3 stars. Now, what about the 4 stars? Because this is also a significant part of LD scrolls. Unless if you're really unlucky, then it's basically non-existent. The thing is with LD4s is that I cannot really count them in my storage, unfortunately enough. And the reason is because my storage is filled with Hall of Hero units. And I'm not too sure what's Hall of Heroes and what isn't, so I cannot count this. Another way I thought of calculating is by going here and checking the rate of LD4 acquisition. So it says here a default 4 star is 6% or 1 in 17 if you were to round it up. So this won't be the most accurate because of course the amount of 4 stars depends on how many scrolls are, like depends on how lucky you are on the account. But it's about 1 in 17. So theoretically, for every 3-star I have, for every 17 3-stars I've summoned, one of them should be a 4-star, or at least on average. So if I were to divide 765 divided by 16.6, then that would mean that I've summoned an estimate of 46 LD4s on this account. So I'm assuming that from all the LD scrolls I've summoned, at least I've summoned 46 4-stars. So we can technically add this to the count of the total amount of LD scrolls we summoned. And this is also the number of 3-stars until we add this number plus 46. 811 LD scrolls. Now, there's another way you can obtain LD units, and that is through all attribute scrolls. Now, this one is difficult because you cannot do the same way we calculated the 4-stars by just counting how many LD3s I have in storage, and that's because you cannot get LD3s from all attribute scrolls. You can only get LD4s. So the only practical way I thought of estimating how many all attribute scrolls I've summoned, is by finding the ratio between how many LD scrolls I have versus all attribute scrolls. So I have yet again another calculator on the screen. And according to the amount of LD scrolls I have here, I have 47 here. And I have 12 all attribute. So if we were to divide 47 by 12, we can find the ratio for every LD scroll. So every like 4 LD scrolls I have 1 all attribute scroll. But this isn't the most accurate. So I'm going to check my previous summon videos that I conveniently have on my channel to see the ratio between how many LD scrolls I have and how many all attribute scrolls I have. So after looking at my summon videos, which is in this playlist, in this video on my alt account, I have 125 LD scrolls and 23 all attribute. Which is, the ratio is 1 in 5.5 if I were to round it up. In this Demon Slayer summon session, I had 75 LD scrolls and 12 all attribute on my alt account. So the ratio here is 1 in 6 to round down. And then the last one here, I have 68 LD scrolls and 10 all attribute, which is shown on the thumbnail, which is 1 in 6.8. So from all those ratios, I would say an all attribute scroll is roughly 1 in 6, or about 17% the amount of LD scrolls I have. Now, of course, this is kind of like a really rough estimate, but I didn't think of any way I can count this. If anyone has another way or estimate that is probably more reliable, then let me know in the comments. So I'm just gonna plug this in. 0.1667% times 811, which is the estimate of how many LD scrolls I have. It's an additional 135 all attribute on this account. So this is the final estimate of how many LD scrolls I've summoned on this account and how many all attribute I've summoned on this account. But there's another way you can gain LD units, which is from event scrolls. Now for me, this is basically impossible for me to estimate. But like for each collab scroll, it's like, it acts like an all attribute scroll. And I'm not too sure how many event scrolls I've summoned on this account. And with the 10-year and 11-year scroll, they're also quite hard to estimate. So you can say maybe like 40 more all attribute here. And with the 10 and 11-year and 9-year scrolls, I don't even think I played on this account when there was the 9-year event. So 10 and 11-year scrolls, it's around 800 total or 900 even. And for each one of these scrolls, it's like 1 in 7 for an LD. So you could say it's an additional like 120 LD scrolls. But I don't think I'll add this into the calculation since it's quite unreliable, and I feel like the all attribute calculation is more reliable than this. But you can say like an additional 200 if you wanted to be like, I don't know, if you wanted to make yourself feel worse for how many LD scrolls you've summoned compared to the amount of LD5s you have. But yeah, here's my estimate. Around 811 LD scrolls summoned, 135 all attribute, and 200 coming from the event scrolls if you were to put them in as equal to LD scrolls. So this is my estimate, and it's kind of depressing to know that I have only one LD5 from all of these. But I feel like I'm due, and I'll totally pull Tianling and Velasca next month on this account. Or I'll just sack them on my main, which is, to be honest, what is happening right now. Like, it's kind of crazy. I feel like I have summoned maybe 1 or 200 more LD scrolls on my main compared to my alt. Yet this one is only 1 LD5 and my main has 6. So the game is really unfair when it comes to that. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to ask ChatGPT, what is the chances for me pulling only 1 LD5 from 1,100 LD scrolls? And let's see what AI has to say about this. It's going to take a while, probably since there's a calculation. Confirming LD5 rate and calculating possibility. Calculating okay. So, ChatGPT says the short answer about 8%. And then for context here, it says if you have 0 LD5s from that many scrolls, that is a 2% chance. So that's actually crazy to me. That about 8% of the entire community in the game will probably go through this situation where they summon 1,100 LD scrolls to only have 1 LD5. That to me is absolutely absurd. Because on average, you should be getting 4 from that. But yeah, enough ranting for me. I think doing this calculation was kind of fun and kind of depressing at the same time. I don't know if I would recommend you guys to do this as well. Because it's not the best estimate. Like, I could be, for all I know, 500 LD scrolls off. But yeah, I think it was fun to do in the first place, and hopefully those LD5s that I'm missing will come to this account or possibly just on my main, and then I can abandon this account. But yeah, that's all there is to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.